Hello guys and girls, welcome to the first lecture. As part of this video, we'll have a quick look at the resume that we have here. This is a typical resume, or this is a standard resume used by most of the consultants in the United States. This is a typical resume used by consultants or maybe in other parts of the world as well. This is the standard resume. This is a 3-page resume that I have here. This is the first page with work summary and technical skill matrix here. After that, education and professional experience. Professional experience lists all the projects beginning with the recent project. This is the recent project that I have here in this resume, followed by some other projects, couple of other projects. So as part of this sample resume, I just have 3 projects, but as part of your resume, you can have more projects or less projects, or your resume can be a couple of pages more or a page less than what I have here. So we will just focus on the contents what a resume should have in order to get shortlisted. Henceforth, don't get carried away if your resume is a little bit different in terms of the content or in terms of what is the standard resume template that you are using. So this is the template that we're gonna use as part of next set of videos. Just focus on what are the suggestions or advices we are gonna talk about in order to get resume shortlisted. It doesn't necessarily mean your resume template should match to this or your technical skill set should match to this. We'll have a quick walkthrough on this resume. On the top left, we have the candidate name and what is the role the candidate has recently held. What is the contact number and the email address, the contact details of the candidate. And we begin with the work summary. Work summary is nothing but what are the tools and technologies a candidate has experience or the candidate has in fact worked with as part of his career or as part of different projects so far. This is a summary of his skill set so that a recruiter or a hiring manager can have a first glance of his strengths or his skill set or the areas he has worked on. So this is something you want to showcase as part of the first page. After that, the technical skill set the candidate has working with different projects. On the left, these are different technical areas, and on the right, these are the actual tools or technologies the candidate has worked on as part of those technical areas. For instance, languages, this resume shows this particular candidate has worked with Java, Python, PL, SQL. And for example, CI/CD tools, the candidate has worked with Jenkins and TeamCity, etc. These are some set of standard technologies, guys. It doesn't necessarily mean you should have the same tools or technologies in your resume. Your resume can have something different altogether, or you can have something more, or you can have something less than this. But these are some typical set of tools or technologies a automation engineer or an SDET will have. So that's the reason I have them as part of this sample resume. And going to the second page, the candidate has a master's degree in information systems from a US university. After that, this is the professional experience with the very recent project. What is the role the candidate has held in as part of this project, and what is the name of the client? What is the project duration the candidate has worked and the location of the client. Remember that you always keep your recent project or the current project or the most recent project on the top. So this is your current project or the most recent project directly under your professional experience. And after this, you go back in time followed by the other projects that you have worked as part of your career. So whatever we see in the last is the very first project that you have worked with when you begin your career, or this is the last project that you showcase as part of your resume. Hence remember that very first project or the recent project or the current project is most important. This is mostly looked by the recruiters or the hiring managers in terms of what you have worked as part of this project. Project description should be something simple, even a non-technical person should be able to relate to. It shouldn't be too technical and it shouldn't be too lengthy. It should be like a couple of sentences and one should be able to understand if this is a payments project or an e-commerce project or a healthcare domain project or something else. This should be very simple and straightforward. After that, responsibilities. Responsibilities are really important because these are something focused by the hiring manager. This tells what are the duties and responsibilities or tasks or challenges you have in fact taken as part of this project. So make sure you represent everything you have worked with as part of your recent project. Make sure you don't miss anything. After that, this is the environment, this is the project environment. What are the tools or platforms used as part of this project? This doesn't mean that you have worked on all of this. This just means that this is the project environment. It doesn't necessarily mean you have worked on all of this. Of course, most people tend to put what are the tools they have worked on as part of the environment. But that's okay if you have like one or two technologies or platforms that you have not directly worked on. It's okay to list here because this just says this is the environment as part of this project. Because your skill set you have anyway listed here, this is your skill set, and as part of your responsibilities, again you highlight what are the tools and technologies you worked. And of course, environment may have a couple of things more as part of project environment. And this is the second project and followed by other projects. But remember guys, the later projects do not hold much importance unless they have something specific tool or technologies the employer is looking and that you do not have in your recent project. Only then he or she is going to look at other projects. Otherwise, your recent project should be good enough to represent your work. Going back to the first page guys. At first glance, this resume seems really impressive, or at least I would say the candidate here or the resume here, it shows enough experience as part of the work summary. This shows enough tools and technologies and experience with different kinds of testing roles or skill set. And the technical matrix, this is good as well. This might not be a complete list, but this is at least a standard skill set an automation engineer or an SDET needs to have in order to get hired. And as part of first project, we see a handful of responsibilities listed here. So at first glance, you feel that this resume is really good enough. But is it really good enough to get shortlisted? Maybe not. This resume is still missing some things in order to get shortlisted. Shortlisted by the recruiter or shortlisted by the hiring manager in order to get an interview call. This seems to be a good resume at high level, I agree with you, but still it is lacking few things in order to get shortlisted, which we are going to talk about in the next couple of videos. Stay tuned guys.